This week on Media Delta, East 2, Castle in the Heavens. It's time to make the end of battle, and also the end of East anime. Hello, and welcome to Media Delta. Today we are discussing something that is actually related to something we talked about 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago we talked about a series of OVAs that was based on Ys, particularly Ys 1. And, as we kind of alluded to in that episode, there was a Ys 2 set of OVAs. That is what we're discussing this week. And I say we because I'm not the only one who watched this. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, this is Carvel, and once again, I'm ready to kill gods.
Hi, I'm Deathmaster78.
Hi, I'm Torpid Typist. I'm here to go completely off script.
Yes. So, Ys 2, it was done by a different team than the original. It has a very different art style, but it does have, at least in the, well, obviously in the English dub, it does share a little bit, so you're going to have a little bit of continuity there. Just kind of looking at kind of what they'd done. The director's name was Takashi Watanabe. I'm just kind of doing a very brief browse. Doesn't seem to have anything. Oh, actually, they were also. I take that back. They were a director for the last 3 episodes of Ys 1, which in hindsight makes sense. So yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about this week, and I have a set of questions. Answer. So, Carnival, what was your general impressions, and is there any particular element you would like to discuss?
Like I said before, I enjoyed this one more than I enjoyed the East 1 OVA, mainly because I guess the element that I would particularly like to say most of all is that it has a much more consistent animation style than, say, the East 1 OVA had. Additionally, I think, like, the thing I would highlight is just what we're probably going to come and talk to a lot later is just the fact that it kind of goes off script. I think it works better in terms of just keeping the story pace instead of just how East 1 did it note by note, but had the problem of feeling like it kind of dragged in the middle.
Is there any particular scene or element you'd like to talk about?
Just as much as whenever Adol's just fired off the magic and just you see the explosions of whatever's left over of the target, just
Fucking Adon's Kamehameha.
it's dead. It's just dead.
Yeah, it was really fucked up when that one thing just got turned into a pile of gore.
Yeah. Yep, that definitely... that piddly little magic spell you get in Ys 2 got upgraded in this quite a bit.
No, it's really weird just seeing him leave this pile of bones, viscera, and scorched skin, and it's weird. Like, it's really detailed.
Yeah. It's like... I don't really have anything much else to say other than that. Death.
Yeah, I actually didn't like this all that much. It was fine, but I don't know, it didn't just stick with me as much as the first one.
Any particular element about it you want to bring up?
No, honestly, because the problem is nothing really stuck with me.
Okay. Torpo.
Oh boy. I think it's okay. My problem is that it's so it goes way off script, especially near the end, and it also introduces plot lines that don't really need to be there, like Lilia and the monster dad thing was wholly unnecessary.
So I think that's supposed to be one thing that something that I should bring up about this one, and this is probably more of a problem with the English dub, is that I know we talked about in Ys 1 that there was a lot of mistranslations. There's even more so in this one. Like
Lillian.
Lillian. They've managed to find more ways to pronounce Adol wrong.
Andalis.
Darius.
Dares.
There's they just call them Dares at one point. But yeah, there's also it's like Furea for Dr. Flare, and also Keys for Keith.
Keith, yeah.
Who got a major redesign in this, to say the least. Yeah, that was kind of weird if you are familiar with Ys 2. So yeah.
No, it's just in general it goes way off script, and like there are points where that helps to kind of keep things moving and keep the pace, but also there's other times where it was like the entire bit about trying to show people the end of the world went way longer than it needed to.
Yeah, because it takes like the entire. So this thing is 4 episodes long, 4 half-hour episodes, and that plot point is basically like, because I think in the
It's the
original,
entire second episode.
yeah, it's the entire second episode, and even the first part, the first episode's about basically it's like they turn Rance or Lance Village, depending upon your translation, they turn it into like this like town of like I don't want to say fanatics, but basically this town of people who basically worship, or I don't know if worship's the right thing, but they basically are servants to the monsters that are there, and they think that like there's nothing at the end of like essentially the earth is flat and there is
They
nothing.
offer up sacrifices to the monsters.
Yeah. I think in like the actual games, I'm pretty sure they know about Asteria, like in Rance Village.
Yeah, like that was never in question. I thought the people, if memory serves, the people of East always knew about what was down below.
Yeah, they were just up in the sky, for some reason. But yes, is there?
Also, man, Asteria is mountainous.
Yeah, I I mean, to not to disparage of it, but mountains are pretty relatively easy to draw in comparison to detailed landscape.
Planes.
Yeah, flat plains and all that. Yeah,
So yeah,
but no, it was really good because we just get this shot of Asteria and it's all mountains, just all of it.
yeah, you don't even see like a thing of Darm Tower or anything,
Nope,
which by the way gets destroyed in this.
they
Uh,
fucking wreck it.
On like a complete backhand or like on a completely like not non like important thing, it's like, oh, there's the destruction of a major thing in later East games. But
But
yeah,
in general, I think it's okay. I like East 2 more than I like this version of it.
like the
Also,
game.
the entire last episode is wholly off script, just completely. Like the whole dark side of Adol and Adol being taken over by the Pearl bit was no, it doesn't happen.
Yeah, that I think they might have put that in just because really the plot of East 2 is kind of relatively basic, but
Yeah.
still it yeah.
I don't know, it's enjoyable regardless. Also, fucking Maria just being fine at the end after very visibly dying on
Yeah,
screen.
that's bad. That one's
It
definitely.
really
And
cheapened
only
that
her.
moment.
Yeah, because the thing is that like in the original game, that there's something like those lines happens is that you get like you give her a plot like a trinket at some point, and that ends up saving her. But the way they show that scene off in the OVA is basically she like plummets down like this thing, like she's super dead, and then she's like, ah, I'm fine.
I'm fine. Let's get married.
Yeah.
It's got some questionable choices. Also, let's talk about Lilia during the ending bit where fucking your good buddy, the fucking
Keith.
Darm,
Oh,
Darm is sucking in all the energy from the monsters, and Lilia just has this weird black ooze trickling down her legs and only her legs.
yeah. That's
Yeah, that's why. Why did you do that?
that's very weirdly.
Like, I tried not to be crass about it when we were watching it, but it's like, holy shit, could you have not done that a bit better?
Yeah, like have like goop come out of her like her eyes or something, like or just have her like tear blood or something like that. But the way they did it looks questionable at best.
That's putting it kindly. Also, the summoning of his good buddies from fucking Asteria was also great.
Yeah, because like, oh, time to summon the squad, and Dogi being very indignant that he is not a servant, that he is in fact.
He's a good doggy.
Yes, he's a good boy.
It just makes a lot of really weird decisions, and I don't know how to feel about all of them. Also, once again, the whole monster dad thing was weird.
Yeah, where
Uh,
I was gonna say, did they describe what Keith like? Do you see Keith in these two? Like, I don't like. I see like a crack through. Like, no, that's Tarf that I'm thinking of. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you see him, but he's not like this. Like, I don't want to say Giger-esque, but he's not this horrific like thing. He's just a monster like everything else. Also, no mention of like I would have really liked just a 2-minute scene of Adol using like the ultra magic, just to seeing like this darkness everywhere, and all of a sudden you see Adol just run around as like a cute Quay for just or a Rue. I forgot I forgot what their canon name is now, but
it's Ruse. They call him Ruse.
yeah. So
Also, if it was really accurate to canon, you would have seen Adol running around the village burning everyone's asses with his new fire magic.
oh, Yeah.
But oh god, what else was there? There was one other thing I was actually just thinking of. Oh yeah, I also do love Surfer Boy Dark Fact coming in to say, "Oh, I'm good now. Have some magic." You know, like I don't want it. I don't want it.
You're taking it anyway, though.
Yep. Yeah.
Like it was just short of that voice actor's Surfer dude
Yeah.
voice.
I mean, up to the point where, like, in the bloopers for this, he just brings it full out.
I know, it's so good.
Both East 1 and East 2 have really good blooper reels.
Also, still looks like Off-Brand Griffith, but
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
Yeah, I definitely see that.
I will definitely say though the animation quality is better and more consistent, and I can at least appreciate that.
Yep. This was
Even
3 years later, 1992.
Can't believe this OVA is as old as.
Yes. Yeah. So my thoughts on it are generally, like, I liked it. I liked watching it. It's definitely on the better, like, on the higher end of like OVAs like this. But yeah, there's just a lot of like, you did that, huh? Just weird head scratching moments. Yeah. And like that entire like the first 2 episodes just had this really weird feeling to them. Like it's like they were trying. I'm not a huge fan of the things they added on, like the whole other plot lines. Because like in the original game, like Lilia like doesn't realize that she has a disease that's going to kill her shortly. But then Adol like finds the thing that Flare can make a potion for, essentially. And here basically Lilia gets sick as a baby, and her mother like basically offers is like, please save my baby, and then Keith like sacrifices a monster to save Lilia's life, and now there's monster blood in her veins.
Also, she gets like partially absorbed by the Black Pearl at the end, and that's how she saves the day.
Yeah. Oh, also one other thing that I happen to notice is that the way that, because if you look, like the way Lilia is usually done in art, she usually has the same kind of outfit that she normally does, a very long white dress. They shorten, like they give her a much shorter skirt in this than when I first saw that. I'm like, oh, you're gonna go that route, huh? And then they don't. It's actually
No, her official art is relatively short.
Huh? I thought it was more of a dress.
It is a dress,
but it just seemed like
it
seemed like it was just a much shorter thing. Oh yeah, I suppose. Anyway, then I guess I might have been
proven wrong, motherfucker.
Yep.
How dare you?
Okay. Well, I do also go ahead.
That Lily exists to eat shit, is what I was gonna say.
Pretty much. And also I thought a little tiny detail. I like that every people wear different clothes throughout the thing. Like it actually like.
Yeah, you actually see like Adol get better armor over the course of it.
Yep. Also, his sword situation's weird. Like he's always having his swords thrown to him until they get the sword thrown, then it will like break like 5 minutes later. Until he gets the very much, hey, I'm a protagonist sword.
Oh my god, it's so good. I love it so fucking much. It is when the fucking, oh god, what was his name again?
The
blanking.
Sada?
Yeah, Sada just goes into his closet looking for a sword, and you see these normal swords, and this overly elaborate protagonist sword, which he tears out and runs off with. It's so good.
It's, yeah. So, yeah, speaking of some of the characters, Torpo, how'd you feel about the setting and the characters that are in that setting?
Also, one more thing really quick. The petrification scene was weirdly brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That wasn't so much petrification as having stones thrust out of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was bizarre. Like, you saw fucking, like, people's bodies start to deform and, like, arms break and shit, and it was, oh.
Yep, but then when they get petrified, they're perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fucking Stone to Flesh be like that.
Yeah.
But so the setting and characters. The setting's perfectly fine. Like it's relatively normal JRPG-ish. It is a bit more interesting than Asteria at the very least, because you have to deal with the monsters having taken over the land and demanding sacrifices and all that. And also the Black Pearl being both the source of evil and the source of magic, I think is an interesting touch personally. Basically just being the source of all the problems, but also and eventually having to remove it, thereby removing magic from the area. Unfortunately, it's not like dragon energy, but that's a whole different beast.
That's a whole different game, but I really don't like the magic goes away trope, so
I mean, I don't. In this case, I'd argue it's a bit different than that. It's not like everyone growing up or whatever. It's just magic has to go because it is the source of these demons.
No, yeah, it definitely works out here. It's just that's a trope in general. I'm not a big
Look,
fan of.
the winged ones are very bad with their artifacts because they cause nothing but trouble. Between the Black Pearl and the Ark of Nepishtim, they just are really good at fucking up. But just in general, I thought it was fine. The goddesses just basically serve as plot devices, which is kind of a shame, but kind of how it was to begin with. Adol is a bit more conflicted and I don't want to say edgy, but angsty. That's it, angsty.
Yeah.
Than he is in the actual games. To the point where once again, Darm tries to turn him evil by using his anger against him, which never happened in the games because Adol feels no hate, only bloodlust.
Yeah, one thing I did want to talk about is basically kind of compare this OVA's kind of characterization of Adol compared to like basically compared to two OVAs, which we can probably just discuss that here. So yeah, that's a good point about Adol's character.
It's really weird because like Adol, I wouldn't say happy-go-lucky, but he's generally a lot more chipper. Like he never really has that internal conflict that he does in say this.
Yeah, like East 3 is like the only example that I could think of, but
and even that is changed up in Oath.
Yeah,
but I don't know. Just in general, like Lilia exists. Excuse me, Lillian exists to basically be a damsel, which isn't that much different, honestly. Still not the greatest, but fucking whatever.
One thing I would point out about her being damsel, she does in fact she does run through a snowfield with one shoe. I don't know how only one shoe.
How did she lose her shoe?
I don't know.
Find out.
Yeah, and once again, she does eventually at the end save the day by talking Adol out of being a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
But like in between, she's just constantly eating shit or getting carried away.
Yeah.
And she doesn't have much in the way of a personality, honestly.
Oh, she doesn't.
Let's see. There's Goon Squad backing him up, who are just kind of whatever. They're just kind of there to once again back him up and move the plot along, like that entire looking over the edge of the world bit.
Yeah. You just have the person that's kind of on the side, and then you have a snivelly asshole dude.
Two of them.
There's two of them, but one of them in particular is pretty egregious about it.
True.
But yeah, they did not appear in the game, so therefore they died.
And just otherwise, there's not much to be said. Like they bring back Goon Squad from the first game for some reason, and it feels really weird and out of place because they actually don't end up doing a whole lot.
Yeah, because like Govantova and like Ludogema only show up like at the very end, right? Like they show up like
it's Luda, Goban, and Dogi.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I can't even remember what the context is in game, but it's like, oh, isn't it at like they show up at the very end because there's that hallway in which you do the runway, like right before you fight Darm. I think they show up. Yeah, and they like give you like one. I think Ludogema gives you the shield magic. I think something like that.
I mean, but in this they don't do anything.
Yeah.
They just kind of arrive to yell at Adol, who's having a fucking moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, otherwise, that's kind of most of it. Like, Darm is a villain, and exists to be a villain, and not much outside of it, but it's kind of how it always was. Dallas has more of a speaking role, but I kind of regret that fact, honestly.
Yeah, he
says nothing of value, and is just an absolute edgelord.
Yeah, it's great, because it's like a not as poorly designed thing. It's the thing that now that in hindsight it reminds me of, because I've been watching someone play Mass Effect 3 Kai Lang. I just remember that character.
God. Why?
It's just like that character that is there just to be an asshole.
Yeah. I think he's a better villain in Chronicles, where they also pretty him up.
He got big brain in this.
He got real big brain.
Yeah.
I squish his skull.
Yeah.
So I'll post how he looks in Chronicles.
It's very, very it is a very, to describe it, he basically looked like he de-aged about, because Dallas, what he looks like, he's basically an old wizard, essentially, bald wizard.
He goes from looking like an old gremlin wizard in this to looking like fucking Alucard.
Yeah, he looks like Alucard. He looks like he fit in a Blaze Blue.
There are not enough colors and saturatedness for this to be a Blaze Blue.
That is true. But
yeah, I was gonna say, here's how he looks hooded.
Yeah, it just looks, yeah.
But no, he's a fucking goddamn fat, gross ass gremlin in this.
Yeah.
It's really weird, and then he turns into a brain creature. Also, I gotta say, a lot of the fights in this are really unsatisfying up until they end it with the Kamehameha.
Yeah, basically, it's a lot of like it's not. I wouldn't so much say they're bad. It's just that they're like not as interesting.
Formulaic.
Unless it is not so much a fight as an Adol just completely owning some guy, like going up behind a monster and just snapping its neck, which was very nice.
Yeah, that's right. He did do that, didn't he?
Yes.
Jeez.
He like full on like Solid Snake chokes him out.
It is weirdly inconsistent with how powerful Adol is.
Yeah. So,
But yeah, so,
you good on that?
I think I've mentioned all of the characters worth talking about. Yeah.
All right. Death. What are your thoughts?
I had a big problem in the first one of not being remember most of the characters, and in this one even more so. It's like the only characters I ended up remembering were Lilia.
Doesn't help that a lot of them are like special boy OCs. So
Well, no, most of them were just generic nobodies, like the.
that's what I mean. Is like for this specific OVA.
No.
Which is why they don't serve much of a purpose usually.
It's like Lily and I mostly just remember for constantly getting kidnapped or screwing up. Like she never delivered that necklace like she was supposed to.
Nope. She held on to it the entire time for some reason.
Yes, and she ran into Adol multiple times when she could have given it to him.
Also, yeah, actually, let's not forget the part where she got jealous of the goddesses because they were so close to Adol.
Yes, there was that nice scene where the three of them were sitting around going, "So you want to fuck him too?"
And they never expand on it, which is fine because they never expand on it.
Yeah.
And Keith, I only remember just because of his design. Because otherwise, his story didn't really go anywhere. And like, unlike everyone else, he didn't get a happy ending. He killed himself and fell off a cliff.
Yeah.
Yeah, he ate shit and died.
Pretty
And
much.
like, isn't he alive in the later games?
Yeah, he plays it. You fight him again, and he becomes Dark Fact in East 4.
That's what I thought.
And and he definitely shows up at the ending of East 2. Because he's the thing they don't mention is that he is a descendant of Dark Fact, or he's a descendant of Fact. So
Yeah, because I spent the whole thing thinking that he was Keith, and it's like they never brought it up. So just I don't know.
Yeah, his name is Keith Fact.
Keith Fax, woohoo.
all right, you good on that?
Yep.
All right, Carnival.
Yeah, I gotta admit, it's like, other than I don't remember any of the other characters that weren't just like either the transplants or the goddesses and Lilia. It's like, yeah, no, you're here, you're there. You died. Okay. Like, it's just like they're there and don't really serve any purpose other than to just kind of give more people to like talk to, and other than that, they don't really have any impact.
Okay. Yeah, like I mentioned, I kind of like the idea of what they were going for, but at the same time, it also just deviated a bit. Which, just because I'm familiar with the games, it just really doesn't. It just feels weird. Yeah.
So I guess since I'm not as familiar with at least 1 and 2, especially not familiar with 2, that's probably why I'm not as bugged by the whole them going off script.
Actually, don't worry, it didn't bother me either. Like the broad stroke stuff.
Yeah, it's the better half of the East 1 and 2 package, but it is still East 1 and 2. So yeah, that's my general impression of the characters. So, and we also kind of discussed, like, did anyone have any other points about the characterization of Adol in this?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, well, for one day, he ate shit for most of this anime. Like, most of that was him getting his ass kicked, and then he'll, like, throw off his Kamehameha, obliterate everything, which was, not fun to watch. And as far as, like, personality goes, like, even before he goes all murder-tastic at the end, he was having crisis moments like, why won't anyone listen to me about the outside world? It's, like, very different from what he's in. So we joke about him having the bloodlust, but that's not what he's actually. Then here they made that canon.
Yeah. Carl, did you have any additional thoughts?
Nah, not really, because it's like, when it comes, I guess I'll get more to like the respecting canon thing, because that's my thoughts on that. So
Yep. So, that's what we'll be discussing next. So, Carvel, how do you feel this OVA? I really didn't write this in well. Basically, how do you feel about this OVA in regards to respecting the original game?
like I said, I have no familiarity with especially East 2, so I don't mind so much changing plot events. My issue is like the extra angst is unnecessary, but it's like I think it serves fine if they just were to cut the angst a bit and just like more focus on just shuffle, like compress the events, maybe is the thing, because that was like part of my problem with the East 1 OVA is just it feels kind of long, even though there a lot of repeat information. I think that this being shorter and be more compressed about things would be helps it better. So I think that's part of the thing is just I don't mind it so much keeping the broad strokes. It's just what the things I don't like to add is just this kind of pathos that feels like unnecessary.
Okay. Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. Death.
Yeah, like I said before, I don't actually to the game. Like it was pretty much what Cardinal said. Aside from all the angst and whatnot, it was fine. Told the story.
Okay. Torpo.
Um, uh, so the way it goes off script, I'm not generally a huge fan of. A lot of them just I don't really add anything or just feel really weird. Like the dark Adol thing, or fucking Lilia becoming one with the Pearl, or the weird obsessive townsfolk. Like I don't know. I get why they did it. It's to help make the OVA move more and a bit more interesting. But like, I just wasn't really a huge fan of a lot of the changes, I guess. And it's less they bug me because I really liked, and more just they kind of just bug me in general.
Okay. Did you have any other additional thoughts?
I'm just thinking really quick. Not really.
All right. Yeah, like I've mentioned, it's just they may make some changes that just feel weird, and yeah, you might like it, you might not. I just maybe it feels weird. Torpo, if there had been a third East OVA, would you have preferred it be done in the style of this one or the first East OVA?
I'd have preferred something that adheres a bit more like the first OVA, honestly. Because when it got pretty much all the plot beats right, and it felt better because of it, even if it did take some liberty still, but they felt less intrusive than this one's. Also, there was the trailer for the Dawn of East OVA, and it's kind of a shame that nothing came of that, because I actually would have been really interested.
Yeah, just hopefully they would have put a little bit more budget behind the animation.
Yeah. Also, East 3 doesn't exist.
Yeah. Well, you gotta go to East 4 and then you do East 3.
Exactly. Canonically, that's how it works.
Yep. Death, what about you?
Yeah, I would have preferred if they'd done the style of the first one rather than this one. Exit. It made a lot more sense, and yeah, we got a lot more like fight scenes and action and whatnot in the first because it was longer. So yeah.
Carnival.
I'd have it probably done more in the style of East 1, but with hopefully like the animation team of East 2.
Yeah,
like I prefer this animation style much more than what we get in the East 1 OVA.
Yeah, I could definitely agree with that. So yeah, I kind of agree with Carnival, but I would prefer they kind of stuck to it because what they kind of went here was a little bit dark, and that's just not his game. Like it's not like it's super like happy fantasy time, but I mean it kind of is in a way, but it's more lighthearted than dark, and that's how I kind of prefer. So with that, I think it is time to actually rank this. So we are going to be using our 1 to 21 scale of ranking things. This is actually the first episode that we are recording that is with the basically the new page. There are 3 additional ranks, which I'll probably be putting out a video, which I might actually put in the description of this episode to kind of describe the new changes. But essentially, I don't think the new ranks really match with this. So it's a 1 to 21 scale. Basically, with 1 being what I have as Pinnacle Mastercraft. Basically, it is the hallmark of the genre. It is basically uses as basically as good as it almost can get. And 21 is avoid at all cost. Basically having no redeeming qualities. It's not even ironically fun to watch. It just don't even. So, with that, Carnival, what would you give this?
Let's see. Like, as much as we've been ragging on it, I guess it feels it's still enjoyable, a good watch. I'd probably give it like a 5 or 6.
Okay. Death.
I'd actually go like about somewhere between 7 and 9.
Okay.
That's that much.
Okay. Torpo.
Where did we rank the first East OVA?
4.
4.
Yep.
Okay. What's around 6?
Labyrinth, Mappy, Mortal Kombat, Hunt for October.
I'd say 7.
Okay. 7, which is right next to... Okay.
Yeah, I can fine with that. That sounds insane kind of range.
Yeah, that, I mean, yeah, because that's right next to... It's kind of basically the average. Kind of, because I would say, as I mentioned, I would say this is better than most. It's like better than a very bland one. It's not like Salamander or like the Panzer Dragoon OVA. It's actually pretty decent to watch, even if you're familiar and not a fan of the changes. It's still pretty fun to watch. Also, it's 4 episodes and they're 30 minutes each. It's pretty fun to watch, and it's not going to take much time. So yeah, I think 7's a good. So with that, is there any charms we would want to give for music, charm, cinematography, storytelling, action, or artistry?
Definitely for music.
Yeah. Even though like it uses a lot more like varied music. It's not using the same tracks over and over again, but it's still some weird placements familiar with the original soundtrack.
But it's still good, especially the fucking opening.
Yeah, they put to make the end of battle at the point they should.
Look, all I wanted though was to hear Adolf screaming over it the entire time.
You got
He loses his mind about being shot into space.
You got a good amount of screaming out of it, but yeah. Still.
Yeah, he really improved over the previous one with his scream game.
Yeah. Anything else?
Not really.
Not really.
No.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Now, is there anything we want to call out for yay or nay here? Basically, I don't think I've added some new charms to have as a guide, so we have something to think about. I wouldn't say it aged poorly. There's music. The pace is pretty good. No weird bounce product placement. No recycled content. The elements from the games weren't really shoehorned. Although I do find it funny. I was like, oh, here we have the stone shoes that we used to get up the mountain.
Thanks.
Yeah.
But I don't really think there's any specific charms that really get called out for either yay or nay.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good just leaving it. So yeah, that'll do it for East 2. So before we go, Carnival, is there anything you want to plug?
You can follow me on Twitter at Toku_Carnival, and you can follow the Actual Play podcast I do with all the people in this episode at the Daft Dice Project, or follow the podcast Twitter at Daft Dice Pod.
All right, Def.
Yes, you can find me at mixer.com/deafmaster78. I stream at PM Standard Time.
All right, Torpo.
Twitch.tv/torpotypist and at torpotypist on Twitter. And what I would love to plug is nothing.
Plug the holes in the game canon?
Nah, holes in the script maybe. Plug the hole that Maria fell down. Just be saved finally. She didn't die, I swear.
Yeah. All right. So with that concludes us looking at East 2. Next week, we have an interesting thing because we're ranking not quite a game show, but it's pretty close.
It's a game show.
Yeah. So it's great because it's basically me looking at a list of seeing what's available on YouTube and seeing, oh, I'll just do that one, that one, that one, that one. We're taking a look at Nickelodeon Guts, which should be interesting because I've not watched that in a good long time.
Yeah, to be fair, you don't need to really pick out specific episodes of that one.
Yep. I just basically went through the seasons and it's like, okay, let's get some. So yeah, that is what we'll be discussing next week. So hope you tune in for that one, and thank you all for listening. If you would like to look at the full list of rankings for yourself, please visit r3.ldp.life and go to the Media Delta List tab. If you would like to watch Media Delta's sister show, Retro Rank Rhapsody, you can either watch at youtube.ldp.life or by tuning into twitch.tv/loadedpuzzlo at 7:30 p.m. on Fridays, 2:30 p.m. on Saturdays, and 1 p.m. on Sundays. All those times are from the Eastern U.S. time zone. If you would like to discuss this episode with the community, you can do so by joining our Discord server, which you can do so by going to discord.ldp.life. Thank you again for listening, and I hope you tune in for our next episode.